The first point in great communication is clear and concise language. To start, there's two quotes here that I absolutely love. The first is from Mark Twain, where he goes, "I apologize for such a long letter. I didn't have time to write a shorter one." And also from Shakespeare, "Brevity is the soul of wit." It is, because if your language is clear and concise, ambiguity cannot sneak in, and everyone understands clearly who has to do what and by when. In a quick snapshot, clear and concise language is a very potent enabler, and it builds cohesion among teams because the main thing is that it removes ambiguity. The longer sentences get, the more chance for something unintended to slip in. Without clarity, what will often happen is that we'll stumble in the metaphorical dark, and we'll try to understand, just like we're blind, what our leaders want. Because we don't understand it, we can't see it. Because we can't see it, we can't do it. So if you're trying to get your message across, be as clear and concise as possible. In The Implementation Challenge, a book written by a famous consultant, David Hussey, in 1996, this was a really interesting story I came across, where he had frequently been called to different companies to assess a company's strategic plan. And what they gave him is they gave him binders and binders, and they gave him these binders on a big table. And as David Hussey went through these, every time he came just about in the same conclusion, that these strategies or the plans weren't worth the paper that they were printed on. Okay, why? Why would that be? Because most strategies, like most communication, is far, far, far too dense and confusing. And it just serves mainly to document the history of the organization. So the time that David Hussey was done with his work and was paid tons of money, he was still confused on what the actual plan was. And if a consultant was confused, you can bet that a lot or most of the executives were also very confused. Even though the story from David Hussey is from 1996, I think we all see the same challenge present as ever in the organizations that we work with. If you're in a boardroom, it's these big binders, it's these big PowerPoints, stuff word to word that no one can understand or distill down to the main messages. They just bury what could be good into layers of muck. Not clear, not concise, so it's not good communication. So what begins as a clear idea warps and winds and weaves into a speech that leaves so many people confused. If executives can't get it, if consultants can't get it, you better believe that employees and managers can't get it. So what did Hussey say? How did he advise companies to get around this? He advised that companies keep their plans simple and concise as possible. In his own words, a plan should be brief as possible, but must communicate the strategy. A verbose plan may be less clear than a concise one, particularly if it is less structured. Experience shows that lengthy plans often have nothing to do with the decision process in the plan. What is there should be integrated. There you go, from David Hussey himself. It's super clear. Don't bury good ideas into piles of nonsense. To assess the state of how effectively that you're communicating, conduct a simple test of yourself and the people in your organization by asking them these three questions. What is it that we are doing? Who is going to do what and by when? And how does your role support achieving the overall company strategy? Pretty good, huh? So if you can get answers, not blank stares, back to these questions, you'll be able to score and see where you're either succeeding or lacking. When you ask these questions, your goal is not to talk, your job is to listen. Can the person articulate the strategy? Do the same people in the same group say the same thing? Does each person fully comprehend what a strategy means or what a project means or what a task means? Do they get the big picture, the middle picture, and the small picture? Take notes. And when you're done, do an assessment. And always keep in mind that fuzzy explanations produce fuzzy results, if anything at all. If any of your questions are met with blank stares, then you have a lot of work to do. Be mindful of reinforcing clarity, clear, concise communication.